Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of the Generation GC podcast. My name is Molly Hudelson. I am your host. Today, I am going to be talking to you about Gravity Girl, which is an old demo song from Good Charlotte. It's a pretty rare track. This is your first mini bonus episode since we recently had an episode about 1979 from Cardiology, and I did this one completely solo. I had a lot of fun recording this back in April, but I wanted to come on and share a few updates and some information about the show before I dive into all things Gravity Girl. First, thank you to Benji Madden for shouting out the show on Twitter. That was such a cool thing to see, for him to say Generation GC is his current favorite podcast. I hope I can continue to do justice to Good Charlotte. It's so incredible, such an honor to see that he is digging the show. Thank you also to Andrew Wendowski at Music Mayhem for writing such an awesome article about Generation GC. I'll link it below, but please read it. It tells you everything you could need to know. If any other writers or bloggers want to do a post about Generation GC, hit me up. It's been a lot of fun seeing people all over the world connecting with the show. I have got it up on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Play, and also now on YouTube. So this should reach people in a whole lot of different countries, but if you have any other suggestions of places people might listen to podcasts, let me know. If you like the show and want to support it, you can donate on Anchor. You absolutely do not have to do this, but if you do choose to support the show with a monthly donation, that will help sustain all future episodes and ensure that I can really make them the best that they can be. I'm working on audio quality and editing. That's definitely been a big learning curve, a huge learning process for me, but I'm hoping to continue improving and just making this show sound awesome. It also helps me do things like print Generation GC stickers. If you support the show, please email me, generationgcpod@gmail.com, or send me a DM with a screenshot of your support as well as your mailing address so I can send you some stickers. If you're not a supporter of the show, but you want to get a sticker, you can, Venmo me $1 or so to cover shipping and printing costs, and send me your address. We'll figure it out so I can still get you stickers, even if you're not able to do a monthly donation. Once I build up the supporters a little bit and get to 10 people who are supporting it with a $4.99 or more donation per month, I am going to start doing monthly donations to charities. I think it's really important to give back. There's a lot of people that could use help, a lot of organizations that are doing great work. So please also let me know what causes you would want to help support, any charities that you know of, maybe local or smaller organizations that could really use even a small donation every month. Thank you so much for sticking with me and listening so far. Please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast provider and rate and review it. You can keep up with what we're doing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Generation GC Pod. Please also share this episode and share the show with a friend who loves Good Charlotte. Word of mouth is a great form of advertising. I don't know about you guys, but I love hearing recommendations for new bands, new albums, new TV shows, new podcasts from my friends, because your friends, they know what you like. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you think of the show, what you want to hear on the show, what kind of guests you want to hear from, or maybe if there's anyone specific that you're like, wow, it would be so cool to have this specific person on Generation GC talking about Good Charlotte. Let me know. Please reach out to me on social media. Thank you so much for listening to this intro, and now on to our episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of the Generation GC podcast. My name is Molly Hudelson, and I am your host. As you can tell, this is not coming out on a Wednesday because this is our first ever mini episode, bonus episodes. A few days ago, we talked about 1979 from Cardiology. Next Wednesday, we will be talking about a song from Youth Authority. And today we're breaking things up by talking about a non-album track. These episodes that I'm throwing in between Cardiology and Youth Authority, these bonus episodes. They're going to be a lot of fun. I'll talk about demos, rare tracks, covers, anything besides, the tracks on Good Charlotte's studio albums. I'll also be sharing stories, facts, topics, trivia, all kinds of things from Good Charlotte's career. Today, yes, we are talking about Gravity Girl, which is a super old demo song. It was recorded when Benji and Joel were about 15 or 16, which places it around 1994 or 1995. Because it's so old and it wasn't an official release, I don't have the exact year, but, mid 90s. So it's a very old track. I'm super excited to be talking about this song because, per an article on iHeartMedia, this is actually the first song that Benji and Joel wrote together. So it seemed like a good fit for our first mini episode. I first heard this song in the spring of 2005. So, obviously, of course, at that point, this song was written and recorded, a decade ago or so. At this point, I was in 8th grade, and I had found a whole bunch of Good Charlotte demos and rare tracks, and this was one of these songs I happened to find. It is an acoustic track, so it's just Benji and Joel and an acoustic guitar. Definitely not a high quality recording, but, it was not something that was officially released. But it has, in the years since, made its way around the internet. You can find this song on YouTube pretty easily. I loved hearing this song. To me, hearing this, really, and coming across demos and old tracks and, rare songs for the first time was like finding a little treasure box. It was something that I never thought I would ever get to hear. And keep in mind, this is before YouTube has really taken over the world, which I think YouTube made it a lot easier to find things. Obviously, LimeWire existed, Napster, all of that existed, so you could find it, and clearly I did, but it was, at least in my experience, in early 2005, it was a little tougher to find super rare songs and demos. There were all these Good Charlotte fan sites. GC State was one. There were a whole bunch of smaller ones and lesser known, not official ones that would keep all these lists of every song Good Charlotte wrote and such. And sometimes they'll be okay, and here's where you can listen to it. But sometimes they'll be I don't know. I think I had to hunt it down through eBay or something, which is pretty wild. When I first heard Gravity Girl, I remember thinking it sounded very innocent and just like a very sweet love song. Keep in mind, I was 13 and, I didn't know a whole lot about love or relationships. This song is about being super into someone and your whole life revolves around them. You're drawn to them like gravity, but like gravity, they pull you down. I think this could be the person that, you're just super into. They might be your boyfriend or girlfriend. They might not be someone you're officially in a relationship with. But the way I see it, this is the person that takes advantage of the fact that you like them so much. They know that you are so devoted to them. So they keep you hooked. You open up to them, you lean on them, you try to do nice things for them, but they are not what you need. They aren't supportive, they aren't a good, loving person to you. You tell them how you feel and, they're done. They're through. Yeah, I've been there. I think a lot of us have. It sucks. Of course, if you have any kind of feelings about a person and you feel like you're doing your all for them, of course you want not just your feelings to be returned, but your efforts, and to feel like you are giving so much to a person and to have them just bring you down is such a painful feeling. But I do really appreciate that this song is done in a way that, like, it doesn't feel angry or reactive or spiteful. I could talk about, plenty of other songs, not just Good Charlotte, but of so many artists, that talk about these feelings, but they're done in a way that are just very angry and very hurt. And that's, like, really important and valid, too. But Gravity Girl it's kind of romantic, it's sweet. It's being head over heels for someone, despite the fact that they probably don't feel the same, or at least they're not putting in the same things that you are. You are just blind to the reality around you. Yeah, that is romantic in a very naive way. But, not to say that that's not realistic, because I do think that's pretty realistic. They were in high school when they wrote this song, and oh my god, who can't relate to being a teenager and just trying to, like, do everything for your crush to make them happy, and, oh god, the feelings, like, it's not just, oh, they don't like you, but I think this is really, like, the person who kind of tears into you and is maybe a little mean about not liking you back. But there's this, like, naive optimism, I think, in this song that's like, oh, but I'm still, like, so devoted to you, and you're still the center of my world. Which can be, definitely a really painful place to be in, but this is a pretty romantic, in a good way or not, but it's a pretty romantic take on that kind of blind devotion, even when, the other person may or may not be feeling the same. They're bringing you down. So I mentioned an article earlier from iHeartMedia. This article came out in July 2016, by the way. So Good Charlotte were on Warped Tour and getting ready to release Youth Authority. Benji and Joel mentioned their first time performing in front of an audience as a band. They said it was in Dylan Miller's basement show at a party in high school. It was us and another band. We opened for them. I can't remember the name of that band. It was cool, though. Probably like 20 or 30 people were at the party. Benji and Joel recently did an acoustic live stream show on Veeps, which is a platform they created to facilitate band and fan interaction with different, like, VIP programs and such. And for this, they were doing tickets for this live stream show were going to charity to COVID-19 relief. They actually shared a copy of the set list from their first ever show, and Gravity Girl was on the set list. Joel was saying that, some people know this song. It's a deep, kind of lost song that I don't know if it ever really made it out, but a bunch of people have it. Benji replied saying that people ask him about Gravity Girl all the time, that he'll walk down the street and people will ask, hey, why don't you ever play Gravity Girl? For some context, I guess, for this, so they had tweeted about the fact that they were going to play a bunch of songs that they hadn't played in many years. I requested Gravity Girl, which Benji had, saw that tweet. He responded to it. And a bunch of you guys saw my tweet, replied saying you also wanted to hear it. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people do want to hear this song. It's old, it's rare, and of course when we're diehard fans, we want to hear everything. They did not play the song on the show, but, getting to hear a little shout out was pretty exciting to me to hear. I did actually find one cover of this song on YouTube by user Ben-Gemin. This cover was originally uploaded to YouTube in 2011. The video itself is not great quality. It kind of looks like he put some kind of effect on it. But the audio sounds, about as good as you'd expect for, like, a super basic home setup with no microphone or anything, just straight filming. What I did notice from watching this cover is that the harmonies and the background vocals really add a lot to the actual song. the main vocal in the song will say, "You bring me down, gravity girl, you bring me down," while in the background you're hearing, "You rip it out, you bring me down in your world." And Benji and Joel obviously have gone on to do a lot of really great harmonies over the years. The Young and the Hopeless is one of my favorite examples of that. But they also have a lot of, especially on the first record, a lot of songs where they just kind of trade vocal parts, even if they're not directly harmonizing. Little Things is a really fun example of that. So obviously we learned from that, Veep's live stream that they did play this song live, at least at their first show. But I am really curious, did they play it as an acoustic song? What was the arrangement like when Good Charlotte actually played this live? I was not able to find any live recordings of this song, but then again, it was 1994, 1995 or so, not so common that every single show would be recorded on video. If anyone listening was at any of these super early Good Charlotte shows where they played Gravity Girl, let me know. I would love to hear what kind of arrangement it was. Also, no information on how many times they played it, but again, since it's noted as, a very lost track, I would imagine it was not a regular in their rotation for a super long time. But if there are any musicians listening that like this song, want to take it on themselves, you can find tabs to Gravity Girl if you look it up online, guitar tabs to play it. So one thing that I'm having a lot of fun doing as I research these episodes is looking up what people have said about songs on songmeanings.com. If you were to go to Absolute Punk, which is now chorus.fm, that can be such a difficult place. I would say Absolute Punk /chorus is almost exclusively a pretty negative place in terms of the comments, unless you were like one of the few kind of cool bands. And on the other hand, you have fan message boards that are, obviously a pretty narrow view of people that are like diehard and devoted enough that they are going to join a message board. But songmeanings.com was cool because it's still an active site. I don't know why I'm saying was. It's just, I think, not used as often anymore. But songmeanings.com, it kind of predated Genius. It was just people sharing what they thought songs were about. So obviously that's a super fun thing to read as I'm doing these episodes because, not only do I want this is what the band has officially said, I do really want to hear what fans are saying about these songs. A lot of people on songmeanings.com about Gravity Girl were saying that they thought it sounded like it was Billy Martin singing it. People in the YouTube comments also seemed to think it was Billy singing this song, but other commenters pointed out that that wouldn't be possible since Billy did not join Good Charlotte until a few years later, after his past band Overflow broke up, so about 1997 to 1998. So, from everything I can understand, Billy was not in the band at the time of this song. Some comments were also saying it sounds like it could be Benji singing the lead, but I don't think it is. To me, it sounds like it is Joel indeed singing the lead of this song. But Benji, I think you can tell very clearly doing the backing vocals. One comment that I did want to share comes from user GoldenSurfer24. This person's name is Roxy, apparently, and she says, this song is basically that he digs this girl, but whenever he tells her how he feels, she just makes him feel worse than he already does by digging her. Yeah, we've all been there, right? So I'm going to end this by asking the questions that I like to ask my guests when I have them on. So what has this song meant to me over the years? How has that changed? Honestly, this is something that comes up a lot on this show and will continue to come up a lot on this show, but especially with a lot more life experience that I have now versus when I first heard this song at age 13, I feel like I understand this song a lot more. I think I would change my initial interpretation of this as, a sweet, innocent love song to naive and hopeless. But this is something that I think is honestly pretty normal, to get crushes on someone, to attach ourselves to people we're drawn to, and either the reality isn't what we thought it would be, or they just bring us down, they make us feel worse. And, you know, we could talk, of course, about attachment patterns and our childhood and nature versus nurture, and how our upbringing and our, you know, familial relationships, you know, influence romantic and friendship bonds over time. But I'm not going to nerd out about psychology just yet. For anyone listening, I do have a bachelor's degree in psychology, but that does not mean I'm, you know, qualified to psychoanalyze anyone, to counsel anyone. Gravity Girl, to me, it is romantic, but it's on the hopeless, maybe unrequited side of romantic. Something that's definitely a theme through Good Charlotte's first record, especially. Last words about Gravity Girl. Yeah, this is a fun song. I think if you were to hear this and you weren't already a big fan, if you were to hear this and, like, not know Good Charlotte's other music, you might not really appreciate it. But I think as a fan, for me, I heard this song, and I still listen to this song, and it's so fun to me to hear this super old, like, really not great quality recording, but to hear them sing a song that I think shares a lot of feelings that do carry into their first couple of records in a way that's super relatable. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 6 of the Generation GC podcast, talking about Gravity Girl. It was our first mini episode, bonus episode. I gotta come up with a fun, catchy name for these. Yes, this one was a little shorter, but that's the whole thing with these. I mean, obviously there's so much that I want to talk about related to Good Charlotte, but sometimes it's not something I'll have a guest on to talk about, and sometimes it's a song like this where there isn't necessarily even as much that you can find about the song. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. We talked about 1979 from Cardiology just a few days ago, and next week we will be back with a song from Good Charlotte's album Youth Authority. My name is Molly, and I am your host. You can follow Generation GC at Generation GC Pod on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can also follow me, Molly, at Hudelson, at Hudelson on Twitter or Instagram. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please make sure you subscribe to the show, leave a review, rate it, and please, please, please tell all your friends. Spread the word. That would mean the world to me. Thanks so much for tuning in.